for today's conversation between the Chinese counterparts?
Well, I think it's a very good atmosphere. I think all of us understand the importance of U.S.-China relations to the peoples of the two countries and to the East Asia region and the world. The problem, I think, is that this kind of shared consensus is not so common in Washington, D.C. these days, and it's not clear what kind of impact it will have on the U.S. government at all.
So what's the main concern from the U.S. side, and how the Chinese side respond in just in-depth meeting just now?
Say that again?
What is the main concern about the right now situation or tensions between the United States and China's relationship right now? What's the U.S. side's concern, and how China delegation respond to that?
Well, the meeting's off the record, so I can't talk about things that are going on in the meeting. I'm sorry.
So what's your opinion?
Well, I think that the first point that has to be made is that you cannot talk about the U.S. side as a unified entity that has coherent and integrated policies. Actually, the Trump administration is very disorganized. It's divided. It has no policy-making process. And so what China hears from one official may be very different from what it hears from another official, which may be very different from what the President of the United States thinks or tweets. But if you asked about the mainstream view in U.S.-China relations, one area would be a belief that our economic relationship is no longer providing mutual benefit. I think there are ways to fix that, but the sort of durability of our relationship has always rested on the idea that our economic relationship is mutually beneficial. Second, I think there are concerns in the United States about China's role in the East Asian region. Is it supportive of U.S. interests and goals, or is it working contrary to those? And you get different opinions on each particular issue, whether it's North Korea or maritime issues or Taiwan. The administration, at least in its policy documents, takes a very negative view on that. I'm not sure sort of scholars would have the same view.
Sir, given the difficulties of dealing with the Trump administration, how do you propose China, moving forward, engage the United States in a constructive way?
Well, this is a very difficult question to answer. I have a certain amount of sympathy with the Chinese government in dealing with a disorganized administration like the one we have. I think China should continue to do what it's doing. First of all, continue reform and opening up, particularly in those areas of concern to the American business community, as a way of trying to split the American business community from the Trump administration. Second, I think it needs to be very clear on what its own policies are, and take measured actions in response to unreasonable things that the Trump administration does.
Mr. Bush,
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Bush, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
The Chinese government often talks about win-win solutions. President Trump doesn't talk about win-win. He talks about win-lose. How do you address that context and that framework when it comes to trying to resolve these issues? Has the case been made to this administration, for example, that you can have a win-win solution?
This is very complicated. I mean, if the starting point is that China is a revisionist power intent on kicking the United States out of East Asia. And if you really believe that, and if that is in fact the reality, then it's not clear there's any win-win solution to be had. I think that there are parts of the administration who understand that as difficult as our current relationship is, that there are elements of win-win. I think that it was highly regrettable that the Trump administration withdrew from the most important areas of cooperation with win-win potential, such as climate change, the Iran nuclear program, and the economic architecture of East Asia. But those were its decisions. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.